Hotty toddy, Ole Miss fans, and welcome to the Brad and Chad Show on the OM Network. Brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA. This is the show by and for Ole Miss fans, where you'll get expert insight and analysis on Ole Miss athletics. And now, here are your hosts, former Rebels Chad Flowers and retired NFL star Bradley Sowell.
Podcast time.
Brad and Chad Show coming to you on March the 6th, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. We've got some traction, it seems, on an Ole Miss basketball coaching search. Some interesting NFL news that I'll talk to my man Bradley about here in just a second. We also had the Combine this weekend. Baseball continues to roll on. A lot going on. SEC tournament wrapped up for the women. SEC tournament for the men start up this week. So, yeah, tons to talk about today. Let me bring in my co-host, Bradley Sowell. How are you today, buddy?
Chad, what's up, man? Dude, awesome week. So I went from midweek feeling like, man, are we overrated in baseball to getting through the weekend feeling like, yeah, let's go. Let's pour some more of that Kool-Aid. Like I'm feeling good about it. We actually absolutely whooped ass up there in the land of non-baseball. But yeah, we got after them pretty good.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the games on Big Ten Plus? I think I've seen better high school highlight videos with better production quality than what they were able to give us. That camera from what seemed to be 30,000 feet above the air.
I know, no kidding, dude. That field was such an eyesore. It was weird, man. Like
it was.
We were hitting BBs all around that park, but man, that was not an SEC caliber of type weekend. I mean, that was weird, man.
It shows you how spoiled SEC fans are because every game we get to watch is on SEC Network Plus. It's good production value. It's like you're watching a game on ESPNU or something along those lines. Yep. But the score bug on the games for Big Ten, you couldn't even tell if there were runners on base until you saw people running around the base. It was just it was really difficult to watch. But like
chances are they were struggling to keep up with our freaking runs.
And an 8-run first inning on Sunday yesterday against Nebraska. That was, I mean, the Rebel offense, especially these transfers, right? Groff, he's hitting over 400. He hit 500 this weekend. He was the MVP of the Cambria Classic up there in Minnesota, like you were saying. And then you've got Calarco, who's been great, transfer from Northwestern. The team's hitting over 300 as a team. I think 356. It's been, man, the offense, if we can find some pitching, I really think that this can be a team that makes it back to Omaha.
Well, it's safe to say we're the Big Ten champions. I mean, we would beat the hell out of the Big Ten, so we're not worried about that. I'll tell you what I did last night. So you know how you're excited about your offense? You're like, man, this is fucking a good team. Like I really like them. So I started going to look at the roster, and all there is juniors and seniors in our lineup. I'm like, dude, we're losing this whole team. So we better get on board and enjoy this shit this year because – every one of these guys are gone after the season. Now, obviously you got the Porter, you got some good young guys. I think our pitching is going to be better next year because we got so much good young pitching. Yeah. But we're losing this whole team, dude. In my mind, I'm thinking, man, we're building something special. No, this is the last year, and we're about to freaking lose them all. So we better enjoy this crap this year. Next year's going to be shaky.
Yeah, well, maybe. You got Furnish, you've got Utermark. Hopefully they're going to get some good at-bats to be able to transition over to next year. But I think the other thing that we need to talk about is, last week when we had Brett Huber on, we talked about the potential injury to Hunter Elliott. And it turns out that it's just a mild sprain, and he may actually be back in April. So they said they were going to shut him down for 2 to 3 weeks. That was 2 weeks ago. So I think they're going to shut him down for another week, and then he's just got to get that arm strength up. So we should be able to have him middle of SEC play. And if that's the case, you get to move Jack Doherty back to the bullpen, where he's been fantastic as a starter, but he's obviously your most seasoned bullpen guy. That would be a boon for this pitching staff, which they cut down the walks this past weekend, which was good to see because that's been a struggle early on. But yeah, Hunter Elliott comes back and he's the same guy that we've had. Yeah, Omaha would be a massive not making it to Omaha would be a massive disappointment at this point.
Yeah, I think this year we're going to ride the offense, and we're hoping Hunter Elliott comes back and it's the way he was. But in my mind, man, I would rest him as long as we could, and so that way we make sure he's 100% when he gets back. Because we're rolling right now, right? Like these next couple of games still don't matter. Let's make sure he is good to go when it counts in SEC play. So. Yeah, I mean that was outstanding news. I mean, as bad as the La Tech week was starting to feel, hey, Hunter Elliott, La Tech's freaking whatever. We were losing the game to them. Probably would have lost the last one, but we ain't gonna fucking admit it. And then then all of a sudden you get good news on Hunter Elliott, and then we kick ass this weekend. Now I'm back good. I'm back ready to roll. I may or may not rebook Omaha.
Well, you bring up the La Tech stuff, right? So if you didn't see this, which I'm sure everybody did, so obviously we played a 2-game series against La Tech last week. We lose the opener, and by a weird rule, we actually won the second one. I'll explain. So the Rebels were winning after the 6th inning. I think they were up by 1 run. And then in the 7th, La Tech comes to bat, and they put 2 across. They're up 5-4 at this point. Well, then a huge rainstorm comes. It was a lightning delay, and then it started raining, and so they were not able to get back on the field and play the game. And I was not aware of this rule. It was kind of strange. Some of the beat writers on Twitter were pointing this out, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. So apparently, if a game is not able to be finished, then whoever was winning the last complete inning is the one that takes the win. So Ole Miss was winning at the end of the 6th inning, and because Ole Miss did not have a chance to bat in the 7th, they just deferred back to the 6th inning where Ole Miss was winning, so they got the win. And boy, La Tech's coach was pissed. I don't know if you saw this, but he was saying, I don't know if we'll ever schedule Ole Miss again. We would have stayed there all night. We would have come back later in the year to play that game. He was pissed, and I get it because that's a huge RPI bump for them to be able to take 2 from a big SEC school. I mean, I know you're in the coaching game. I think you would probably be pretty pissed off too from that rule.
Well, let's just be open and transparent about this, okay?
Sure.
If you are an Ole Miss fan, you don't give a shit. You're happy as can be. Let's call it like that. If you are a La Tech fan, you are pissed. So,
for sure.
It just depends on what team you're with, right? Like to me, I don't care. La Tech, beat it. Go take your little asses back to the tiny conference or wherever you come from. I don't care. Go home and cry. We just went on a sweat. We're not even thinking about you anymore. But if you are Ole Miss and this happens, say we're playing Tennessee or somebody like that. Oh, I'm just as pissed. I'm hoping Bianco's doing the same thing as the La Tech coach, right?
Yeah.
So. It just depends on what side of it you're on. And it happened this year in softball, too. I think Kentucky or one of those teams was playing a team, and I was on board. I was like, that's the most BS rule ever. I mean, that's just awful. Then it happens Ole Miss. I'm like, see you, bro. We'll take it.
Hey, that's what the rules were set long before this game began. Everybody knew that going in. But, I mean, I do get it. I mean, if I'm La Tech, I'm pissed too, right? I mean, that's a bitter one to swallow, especially when you've got your team fired up. You're about to sweep the national champions granted, it's a midweek series, so you didn't face our best arms, but nonetheless, I mean, being able to come into Oxford and do that, I would be pretty pissed off too. But hey, the rule, we got to focus on conference coming up. So sorry about that, my man.
There's times where I miss having a Twitter because I would have totally messaged that La Tech coach. I'm like, dude, we were going to score 8 runs next inning. Shut it. Like I just. Yeah. Dude, he was so mad. I'd be mad too as a competitor. Like any Ole Miss fan who says they wouldn't be mad, come on, dude. Like, dude, like they had the momentum. I think they had a runner at third with 1 out or something crazy.
Oh yeah, they were pouring more on. There's no doubt about that.
We was about to be on the struggle bus, but hey, we got that big dub. We'll take it, baby. 4-0 in the last 4. Eat that, La Tech.
Yeah, for sure. And you're 10-2 on the season. You've got Southern Miss on Tuesday, which would be a nice, a nice midweek challenge. They lost to State last week, so we'll see if they come back. And then we got Purdue coming in, so another Big Ten. It feels like we're playing everybody in the Big Ten this year in baseball. So we'll have Purdue and Oxford for a 3-game set starting on Friday. So those should all be interesting. And SEC play is right around the corner, and it starts off pretty rough for the Rebels. So we'll see what happens there. Basketball news. I mentioned this at the top. Look. I said last week, Chris Beard's not the guy for me, obviously for off the court reasons. On the court, yeah, I'm going to be happy as hell if he's the coach. And it seems like there are things moving because the rumor as of today, and today's Monday, that's when we're recording, Chris Beard's on campus. So that means that the due diligence has long gone past, and we are now in the courting stage of this potential hire. From a basketball X's and O's perspective, you can't get a better hire, right? This is, usually when you're bringing in a coach to Ole Miss, maybe from a mid-major or someone else, it feels like a stepping stone job, right? Because if a Kentucky comes open or a bigger job, somebody's going to leave Ole Miss. You've got a guy with baggage. We talked about the baggage last week. You get a guy with baggage. Maybe you can put a big buyout into the contract. Jimmy Sexton's his agent, so of course it feels like Jimmy Sexton's the agent to everybody. You put a big buyout in there, and maybe you've got a guy that can stay for some of those reasons, and now you can build something. Like I said, he's not my guy because of some of the off the court stuff, but at the end of the day, if he's going to be the coach, I'm going to support the program, and that would be a huge hire. You're going to have some PR issues that are going to come from
You think
this.
he can handle two of Jimmy's clients after what Jimmy did to him this offseason?
Look, dude, I mean, we may not want to have this conversation, but if Chris Beard becomes the coach, he's the second most highly credentialed coach on campus behind Mike Bianco, who just won a national championship. He's got more accolades than Lane Kiffin at this point, considering what he's done as a head coach.
He's an awesome coach. And I'll tell you what, last week I got word, and I didn't follow, I'm full transparency, I don't follow the basketball search. Sure. I see the names, I go look them up, I go look at them. But I did get a call this past week that said, hey, Keith Carter's doing a little bit of due diligence on Chris Beard. I think it's a little more serious. I know everybody was giving up. As I'm reading, people are like, oh, they're not going after Chris Beard. They're freaking out. But people are telling me, hey, he's actually calling around and doing some due diligence on Chris Beard. So in my head, I'm like, man, I mean, maybe he is more interested than people are leading off. So that kind of got me excited. Just from a basketball standpoint, I think it would probably get me in the seats. I used to try to go, 5 to 10 games a year basketball, but I haven't been, man. It's just not been. To me, it's just not been the same as it has been in the past. So I haven't made it as much, but to me, I was like, man, that's a great hire. I mean, that to me, it gets us back excited, and we're all sinners, right? I mean, if he comes here and does, sorry, he had an issue, comes and does it right, everybody deserves a second chance, man.
Yeah, I mean, if he has truly reformed himself and he is addressing some of the issues that caused some of the items in the past, assuming that they are true, then yeah, I mean, I do agree. People do need a second chance. It's just a matter now, how's the university going to handle the PR flack, maybe from on campus, but obviously the national media is going to be something that has to be dealt with as well. And you got to think the chancellor's got to sign off on this as well, right? I mean, obviously they sign off on all hires, but this is probably something that's going to require a little bit more conversation. They have more information than I'll ever have at their disposal, so I got to at least trust some of their judgment, right?
Well, at the end of the day, listen, you bring the man in, you sit him down, you look at him face to face, and you should know, like, if Keith Carter's any worth of crap at his job, or if he's any good at his job, you look at the man in the face, you have a real conversation with him, say, hey, what happened? What's your goals? How have you fixed it? Or just get to know the guy and make a legit judgment. Hell, people make mistakes. Make mistakes. There's great people out there that have done a lot worse than Chris Beard's done. They're still out there freaking playing the game right now. It's all over sports. So let's give him a crack. Let the AD vet him out, and if he checks out, hell, if he's good enough man to man to have a conversation, look him in the eyes, we should be able to. Keith Carter should be able to decide whether or not he's a genuine person or not.
Yeah, and the rumor is we should have some clarity on the situation, later this week, once the SEC tournament gets rolling. I don't know if it'll happen that soon, but it does feel like that this thing's getting some momentum. And, like I said, from a on the court perspective, you can't get it. That's a slam dunk hire, right? This is like Bruce Pearl to Auburn type juice that the program's going to get, because you got a guy that played for a national championship, was in the national championship game just a couple years ago at Texas Tech. And this will be the biggest hire that the basketball team's ever made, right? You'll never have a guy, or you haven't had a guy with this much, cachet, ever to be injected into the program.
I'll be excited to see the talent he brings in too. Like, I know people are upset because the one kid, the Mississippi kid, he decommitted, whatever. Listen, we got to relax. If we're going to bring in a guy like Beard, let him do his work. You won't care one bit. The type of guys he's going to probably plan on bringing in, my guess is he doesn't care if any of these guys leave.
No, for sure. And then, we talk about, I mentioned the SEC tournament. So the men are playing in Nashville this week. I think they play Wednesday night. They play against South Carolina in the 12-13 seed game. And then the winner of that gets to play Tennessee. So if the Rebels win on Wednesday, they'll play Tennessee on Thursday, which that probably will not go very well considering how the season has gone thus far. But, crazy things have happened. As they always say, this is March, and crazy things always happen in March. But yeah, obviously that's not going to be the focus for Rebel fans. They're more concerned with what's happening off the court, especially.
What do you think the ratings are going to be of that 11 20 Ole Miss team taking on the 11-20 South Carolina team?
Well, depending on how many gamblers there are, they will all be watching.
Put a price on sitting in a folding chair and having to watch every dying minute of that game. I don't know if you could.
I think I would rather die, actually, if we're being quite honest with you. Yeah. Speaking of dying minutes, I would rather be dying than having to watch that. If we're being truthfully told there, I have no desire to watch it. I will check my ESPN app around 6 o'clock my time. Oh shit, we lost. Oh shit, we won. All right, let's see what happens against Tennessee. Now, if you beat Tennessee, if they go into the end of the semifinals, okay, yeah, I'll be paying attention because obviously, if you win the tournament, you make the NCAA tournament.
Or I'll check back in. One more thought, Chad. Do we now turn the corner, win the SEC tournament, go right into the big dance, pull a Mike Bianco?
No.
All right.
Well, so what has happened to this point that would make you think that that's even a possibility?
I don't know, man.
You're not drinking Kool-Aid at this point. You're drinking Everclear.
Yeah.
Right. You're drinking pure grain alcohol to even make a statement like that, to even think that that's in the realm of possibility.
Here's what's great, because if that does happen and we do win the tournament, I'm all in on the NCAA tournament, baby.
Oh yeah, dude, you're gonna be watching the bracket unveiling.
I'll be like all the baseball people, like, I told y'all, dude, we were good. We were only 7-14 and last in the SEC. I told y'all, dude, we were gonna win.
Yeah,
we weren't even gonna make the SEC tournament, but we had all the I told you so's in the baseball season. Yeah, it was the greatest shit I've ever seen. It was,
and hopefully no one will ever listen to another episode where Bradley's like, I don't really follow basketball. I don't really give a shit. So yeah, that's every episode that we've done to this point. I don't really follow the basketball team, so I don't really know what's going on. So yeah, cool. I guess they're doing okay. So yeah, we'll all believe you when you start preaching from the mountaintop how great this basketball team is. Now, I should mention that the women, they wrapped up the SEC tournament this past week in Greenville, South Carolina. They lost to South Carolina in the semifinals, but it still looks like they're going to make the NCAA tournament, maybe as an 8 or 9 seed. That's what I've seen in the bracketology where they're going to be projected. But it does seem like Coach O is going to have them in the dance this coming year, which is obviously great, and keep building on what they're doing. So it'll be interesting to see where they're going to go. And that, I think that bracket unveiling usually happens on the Monday after the men. So maybe this coming week from today, we should have an idea of what their destination is going to look like. So it should be pretty cool to see where they're going to go. So kudos to Coach O. Obviously, they're not there yet, but it does seem like they're going to be a lock considering some of the wins that they've had this season. So, so Brad and Chad Show brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. We're also brought to you by Jeff Griffin with the Stevenson Griffin Group at Baird Private Wealth Management. You can go to the group's website at stevensongriffinGroup.bairdwealth.com, or you can give them a call at 662-841-1900. Some other Rebel news that we have, getting into some of the football. We're not going to talk about coaching or anything like that, but we had the Combine this week, and we had some Rebels that were participating. You had your Malik Heaths, you had, Nick Broker, you had Jonathan Mingo was also there, plus some others, Zach Evans wasn't able to because of injury, but we had some Rebels at the Combine. It does seem like Jonathan Mingo helped his draft status. He ran a pretty good 40. He had some pretty good workouts. Malik Heath, not so much. I think he ran a 4.6, which they had him currently ranked as like the 40th ranked wide receiver. I don't know if it's a really deep wide receiver.
Would you think I was crazy if I told you that Tavius Robinson was going to run a faster 40 than Malik Heath?
I was stunned by that, my guy.
He's right. He's right there on it. I mean, and Robinson is a damn. I mean, he's a 260 or 70 pound guy at 6'6" or 6'8".
That's not good. It may be an XFL situation for Malik and show that he can play there before, or maybe a practice squad situation.
Here's the thing, though. I know we like to judge off 40. Dexter McCluster ran a bad 40. What'll happen with Malik Heath? This is the process, right? You go to the Combine, you run a bad 40, you come back to the pro day. Mm-hmm. Get back right. He'll get down to that. I'm sure the pro day on the hand time, he'll get in the 4.5s, low 4.5s, somewhere in there, maybe mid 4.5s. And then he checks out as fine, right? Just a bigger possession receiver. I mean, Malik, he's not a burner. He's not a fast guy, but he plays with decent speed. He does have some good. He'll have a shot, right? He'll have a shot to make a team. That's all you can ask for, right? I don't think he's a high draft pick, nothing like that. But I mean, he produced enough in college to get a serious look based off his film.
What did you see with Nick Broker's workouts and how he did? How did you think?
I was a little shocked at his 40. I thought with him being a little bit, I know he's a guard now, but I thought he was like he's a skinny guy originally, right?
Right.
But typically those guys run a crazy 40. His 40 was on average, so people were like, "Oh, that 40 was kind of slow," but 5.2 or whatever he ran it. That's right there on par, on average, or what most linemen are. So I thought he was fine. I think his workout checked out as he didn't do anything glaring that was gonna absolutely help him, but he didn't do anything that was gonna hurt him either. So I think he'll be surviving off his tape.
One of the wildest things that I saw, Stetson Bennett, obviously didn't play for Ole Miss. He played for Georgia. He was the quarterback. He ran a faster cone time or a shuttle time. I forget which one it was. He ran a faster cone time than every wide receiver except for 4 of them. Like, he was blazing fast. Apparently, Stetson Bennett had a really good workout. Now, I don't know if he's going to stick at quarterback. Hell, he could be a slot receiver if he runs that fast for those types of things. But and then, of course, the Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida, he is just surging. I've seen him projected as the number 7 pick.
Can I please? I would like to know the dumbass team that's going to make that mistake.
Raiders.
Please.
Raiders.
Dumbass team that's going to make that mistake.
Raiders.
That kid. I mean, that kid has like a 50% passer rating. Unless somebody's looking at him as like a Travis Kelce type tight end. Come on, get real, dude.
But he was thrown to a bunch of trash cans last year at Florida, dude. They didn't have any receivers.
University of Florida. They got plenty of talent there. Like, if you're that good of a quarterback, if you're a top something quarterback, you're doing better than like 6-6 at Florida or whatever it is. Like, come on, dude. No way. I can't wait for the team that does that. And you know what? Hey, quote me if he goes on to be an all-pro.
We'll isolate that,
dude. Yeah, I won't hold my breath. I'll be dead before that happens.
Oh, and another thing. Did you see? So apparently this is the first time that it's ever been done. But the NFL Players Union released grades from every single NFL team, they judged them on food, workout rooms, how they treat families. And I thought that this would be a really cool topic to talk about because you played for 3 different teams: Cardinals, Seahawks, Bears. You also, I think you spent some time with the Colts, but those are the big 3. I wanted to ask you, we'll get into some of the actual rankings themselves here in just a second. But when you were, in your off season evaluating teams that you may want to go to, I would imagine players talk about, man, don't go there. You never think about work conditions when you're thinking of the NFL, right? If I was a coal miner or if I'm another job, I think about what is your working conditions like? Everybody thinks the NFL is everybody's first class. Everything is just perfect. You're treated like a king, but apparently that's not the case with some of these teams. So do players talk about all of these different things and factor those things into decisions?
So yes, players obviously check around other teams, but here's the thing. Every team is different, right? No team is perfect at every single facet of their operation. They're just not. Like, some teams put a high value on the food, facilities, like awesome. But then when you go travel, it's the worst freaking plane in the world, right? Some teams, terrible facilities, whatever. But when you go travel, do whatever, it's first class. At the end of the day, man, I think that survey may be the most spoiled thing I've ever seen, right? Okay, here I am making a $1, $2, $3 million salary, and I'm mad because my family doesn't have a room to go into that's super nice, right? Like, do you think a doctor or a brain surgeon has just a family room where his family can come to the hospital and sit this nice, like, come on, dude, you're making millions of dollars playing a freaking game. And a lot of you guys are making it and you're only playing 10, 15 plays a game.
But in fairness, right? But in fairness, though, it's also spreading the wealth, right? Because they're playing for people that are making billions off of the game that they're playing, right? So it reinvest in me. But it also, the way you can look at it is, okay, with these, if you're not going to make an investment in these different facilities, then you're not going to be able to get some of those free agents.
All in all, for the most part, everything's first class. Like, come on, be real.
Okay.
Dude. I get it. Okay, your family room's not that nice. Okay, well, you have 3 meals a day at the facility, like, that are really nice. You have everything. Dude, let me explain to you how the kind of health you are in the NFL. And this was every team I was on.
I'm listening. All ears.
Okay, so you get there, you get blood work done. They're checking all your whatever your vitamins. So every day I had a locker that had my name on it. Right, I had a smoothie in there that had every vitamin that I needed.
Is this all 3 teams or just a specific team?
This is every team I was on.
Okay.
They did all the blood work. Like, they took care of you at another level. Like, it's not like it was that bad, right? Like it's pretty spoiled stuff, right? I mean, they take care, for the most part, you're taken care of very, very well. Like, much more so than they probably have to do. That's where I am on. Every team I was on, and I was on the Cardinals and the Bears.
Let me ask you.
Both of those got shitty reports.
Yeah, they did. The Cardinals were next to last. They're better than the Commanders, according to this. So let me ask you about this, because I did find this to be a little strange. So the biggest gripe that a lot of the Cardinals players had was on food. So if a player would like dinner, it would be boxed up for them. Players would report, but players reported that the team would charge you via a payroll deduction if you took that food. That just seems petty to me, right? Did that happen to you with the Cardinals?
No, so the Cardinals, so when I first got to the Cardinals, they had one of the worst facilities. Food was just always catered in. They didn't even have a cafeteria. They ended up building a new facility where they were much better food-wise. I will tell you this about the Cardinals, okay? The Cardinals is a fun team to play for, but it was one of the cheaper teams, right? Like they weren't not terrible. They were bad with gear, right? Like if you went and got a shirt or shorts from the Cardinals, like they wrote it down on a list, like you couldn't be, whatever. They were a little bit cheaper. Now on the flip side, the Seahawks, they were so rich it was crazy. You'd walk in that equipment room and they were giving you bags and stuff, right?
Microsoft money,
team,
man.
Yeah, every team's a little different. But I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the Bidwells. I thought they were awesome, right? Like I mean, they fed us when it was necessary, right? I didn't pay attention to I didn't go up there on days when you weren't supposed to be there and trying to get dinner and all that when they only cook so much for the staff and everything else. Like I can see that. I mean, it's not that bad. Whenever we were in session and work, we always had great food. I mean, I never thought that, oh man, I need to pay for a meal or something like that. I think that some of that shit's overblown, man.
Did you have to do your own laundry? Like you had to you get all your stuff together?
We weren't quite that bad. We weren't quite that bad. But I'll tell you what, now as far as with gear there, like actual like team issue gear, man, they were stingy as all get out. Well, I'd wear the same workout shirt until the freaking. It wouldn't even be the Cardinals; it'd be the Nardinals. You know what I mean? It wouldn't even say. I mean, the old letters would be hanging off of it by the time you got a new shirt there. But
bunch of hand-me-downs stuff.
Though, man. I mean, they were fine. They weren't quite as. I don't think they're quite as flush as some of these other teams, right? I think that's where they get their money from is the Cardinals. So they're more on a budget. Whereas like when I was in Seattle, I mean, dude, they invested every single dime back in the team. Like they never took money from that team, if I'm correct. So they were always remodeling the building, like just pouring. I think at one point they had a team plane that the NFL made them get rid of. It was like, wow, they considered it like cheating or something. I mean, it was like this crazy travel plane or whatever. So yeah, it all depends on who your owner is, right? Some people are really trying to make budget, and some people just don't care. I mean, they're already billionaires and they're spending it.
When you would fly with the teams, did y'all all have first class seats? Was it more like we got to share a row with the guy?
Yeah, you usually got a row.
Okay.
But first class, they would put some of the big dogs in and the coaches and all that. Or some teams they'd put coaches in there. Some teams would actually put some of their captains and players in there and stick the coaches in actual seats. It just all depends. I mean, for the most part, though, no, there's not everybody's first class, but you get a whole plane, right? So you get your whole row, and it's not awful, and you got tons of food and stuff on there. I mean, trust me, dude. Like some of these complaints are very first world problems. Like,
sure.
I mean, when are you ever laying on a plane all the way across a row and you just got unlimited food? Like, okay, maybe it's not the greatest first class seat, but I'm laying across a row and they're giving me free food the whole flight and anything I want. Like, come on, dude. Like, these guys are ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you.
And on top of that, I'm making millions of dollars to play a fucking game. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, but I want to be taken care of, right? I mean, it is part of the game. So, but let me ask you this. So,
but you mentioned that. You're making seven figures, dude. Like that's amazing. There's brain surgeons out there not making seven figures. Like, come on, it's football, not brain surgery.
Yeah, but also people don't pay. There's not billion-dollar TV contracts to watch brain surgeons either. But all right, let me ask you this. So you said that players talk. Okay, look, if somebody, who would be the team that everybody's like, man, you don't want to go play for them? Would it be Dan Snyder's getting?
I'll tell you what, it's always the Redskins. You never want to go play there. You never want to go play in Oakland because the stadium was so bad. That was always the teams I'd always hear. Redskins, Oakland.
It's the Commanders now, Bradley. Come on, it's the Commanders.
Sorry, Commanders. My bad. I haven't watched much NFL since I've left. You got the Washington football team.
That was the transition team. They're now officially the Washington Commanders.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just saying to be accurate.
So you got the Washington football team. You got there was always Oakland because their stadium's real bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. Oh, that's bad. It's bad.
And a lot of it's too is where you live too, right? I mean, there's some cities people want to be around.
I could see that.
The LA teams, the California teams, people obviously want to be out there. But yeah, I used to always hear Redskins. I've always heard horror stories about them. Now, what you've heard about the Cardinals, I actually heard was true with the Redskins. Now, I didn't experience that with the Cardinals. I thought they were always. I mean, it wasn't like the most amazing
Sure.
thing, but like I've never felt like, oh man, I'm disrespected, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dan Snyder is getting just apparently I think they're trying to push him out as an owner at this point because the players just completely bashed every single aspect other than the training staffs. Those were the only things that really got consistent good grades for every team, but everything else on the Washington side was just getting destroyed. And apparently he had secret loans. So it feels like every owner is trying to get rid of Dan Snyder.
Allegedly. As we learned from Pat McAfee, allegedly, everything allegedly.
I would imagine that Dan Snyder could probably shut this whole operation down in a matter of 5 minutes if we got a cease and desist. So yeah, I will say allegedly. Allegedly that stuff happened with Dan Snyder. I have no proof of the fact. I'm just reading what I'm seeing on Twitter and in the newspaper and places like that. So Dan, if you're listening, I don't know if you really did it or not. Yeah, all good here. I just found that was kind of interesting because I'd never really considered all of the work conditions. Obviously, as a person of myself, my biggest thing is, hey, are they going to give me a laptop to work with? Are they going to help compensate my internet when I'm working from home? That type of thing. Are my benefits good? What's my deductible look like? Right? I never considered some of the work conditions for an NFLer, so I found that was a pretty.
Well, guys call around, but at the end of the day, you're going for that contract, right? If the Washington football team, Commanders, whatever you want to call them, were the worst team ever, but they were giving you $30 million guaranteed.
Sure.
I think you're gonna go and get on that old coach flight and head on over there. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you're going to be living a luxurious life when you leave the building. So, for the most part, man, I was every team. Which I mean, I obviously came from a different background, right? Like I was excited to get whatever I got, right? Some guys, I guess, were accustomed to this crazy lifestyle. Sure. I mean, I wasn't raised with a ton of stuff, so I thought everything free or anything that was given to us, I was very appreciative, whether it was, I don't know. I see it from both sides, right? They're business owners. Some of them have to do what they have to do. I get it. Guys want to be taken care of a certain way, but for the most part, man, it's trust me, dude, like the NFL it's the top of the line. It is the top of the line. You have the best everything. And, it drives me crazy when I see people complaining about it because, I mean, for the most part, man, the experiences I had, maybe I was just on good teams. I mean, I don't know, or good organizations, but I always felt like, man, if I ever needed anything, I was totally taken care of to way more than they probably should have.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. All right. Well, we got one more thing that I want to talk about before we do that. I do want to mention one of our other sponsors, Nest and Wild Mattresses, powered by decades of experience and passion for improving your quality of sleep. Backed by a 99-night guarantee, they will help you sleep easy, and they're made locally, Tupelo, Mississippi. You can find them on Amazon or nestandwild.com. So transitioning a little bit from the NFL to college football, some would argue that some of the things that I'm about to talk about maybe is making college football a little bit more like the NFL, because I don't know if you saw some of the rule changes that are being proposed. And by all means, from what it sounds like, all of these are going to be approved in April when they convene. And a lot of it relates to some of the speed of the game, right? It feels like they're trying to make the game faster. Now, they are saying it is going to reduce the number of plays that to help player safety. I probably think it's more ESPN trying to drive this thing to keep games a little bit more concise. But the rules are this. So obviously one of the biggest differences in rules between college and the NFL was when a team gets a first down, the clock stops till they reset the ball, then they will continue running the clock. So the new rule is proposing to get away with that unless it is the last 2 minutes of the second or fourth quarter. What are your initial thoughts on that? I think it's a good move because I don't think there's a need to keep the clock stopping after each first down.
Yeah, no, I've thought for the longest time, I wish it was like the NFL, right? Get the end of the game and you got 40 seconds, and every time you get a first down, I mean, it literally, it's taken, you can get marched down the field in no time at the end of the game. So I think it should have been like this a long time ago. I mean, I don't like that every time a clock stops or every time you get a first down, the freaking clock stops. And it's just, I mean, it almost gives everybody an extra timeout, right? Then you got the referee runs up there, he starts the ball, and it's like, I don't want a game where there's 30 timeouts, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever, 20 timeouts. So, it's going to hurt us some at some point, but it's also going to help as well. So I think that the clock should be, it should run after first downs, man.
Yeah, I think that this can potentially help, a team like Ole Miss, who has been very offense heavy, right? That means you're going to run out more clock because you run so many different plays, right? Ole Miss
Yeah.
traditionally runs a lot of plays, so maybe this runs out more clock. Defense is on the field a little bit less, or they're having to spend more game time on the field, so that can be, kind of interesting. The other thing, so no more consecutive penalties, or excuse me, consecutive timeouts. Like, so when they're trying to ice the kicker, if you've got 3 timeouts, I can call 3 consecutive timeouts to continue trying to ice them. Or maybe, hey, we called a timeout. We did not like what we saw, or we're about to have a delay game. We got to call another one. You can't do that anymore with
Yeah.
these new rules, which once again, I'm kind of fine with it as well. Yeah. So
Like, what's honestly hilarious, and maybe you can rebuttal me on this, but like, why would the college game not fully be like the NFL game, right? Like,
yeah.
it's just, you're preparing for the NFL, right? Like
Yeah.
it should be the same rules. Like, why are we kicking extra points from the 15 in one league and from a 2-yard line the other? Like, you use the same ball too. Shit. Let's. It should be like, it should be like the NFL. All they should. It's just weird. Like, the college game is much different. I mean, you got a smaller ball. You got. I don't know. Maybe it's because the kids are younger. I don't know, but I would think at least the basic field goal would fucking match up, right? Like, I mean, that's just weird.
I think the only thing that I'm okay with keeping the same is the 1 foot instead of 2, like on a catch. I'm okay for a college.
Now that is one thing on the NFL I wish they would change, right? Like I wish 1 foot was a catch in the NFL, right? Because there's a lot of times where, I mean, if you get one down, it should count, right? You're in play. That is one rule I wish the NFL would change. And I think 1 foot should be plenty enough for a catch in my mind.
Yeah, so if we're talking about the differences in those rules, that would be the one thing that I'd probably be cool. But I'm in full agreement with you on extra points. Maybe not go back to, the full distance, but get it off the 2-yard line, right? Kicking extra points from the 2-yard line. Let's move it back. Let's make it a little bit less of a gimme. Now, granted, in college, nothing's a gimme. It seems like when you're in the kicking game, but let's move it back a little bit. And I also like the option where if you want to run a 2-point conversion, we'll move it to the 2-yard line. But
as a player, when they moved that back, when they moved the extra point back, we hated it because so it used to be just an automatic thing and nobody would rush. Well, you got to remember, I did field goal protection my whole career, and that is one of the most violent things you can be a part of.
Oh, I bet.
And now that you move it back to the 15, now there's a chance, like, if you rush hard, you will, you can block it or really cause them to miss that. So it used to be where, hey, we went out there and no big deal. We know that the kicker's going to make it. They're not going to rush super hard. Well, then it turned into us getting freaking splattered on the O-line. Like, so it was an additional 5 plays where, if anybody who's done field goal protection that's O-lineman understands, like, dude, you get freaking buried whenever you're on field goal protection. So it turned into, all the extra points. You score 5 touchdowns a game. Used to be 5 gimmies to now you get 5 times you're getting freaking flattened, dude. Like, it is brutal.
Yeah, it is, and it's become way less of a gimme now because the NFL made that switch, and I think that's good because if you've got a play that's automatic in any sport, what's the point of having it? Because the whole idea is being able to have some sort of skill involved, and I need to be able to know if there's a chance that somebody's going to fail or succeed, as opposed to just this. Okay, we got to kick the field goal because that's what the extra point because that's what we always do, and everybody always makes it. That's just boring, and it doesn't really add anything to the game. So I'm kind of cool with that too. I don't know if I know you probably haven't because I haven't been really watching it either, but the XFL stuff that's going on, so the XFL is back. During the pandemic season, they tried to come back and then they crapped out again, but it does seem to be back. And they actually have some decent rules that I would be cool with them implementing into the NFL. Like, for example, in the fourth quarter, instead of an onside kick, you can option to keep the ball with it at 4th and 15. If you get that, then you get the ball and you're able to, because the onside kick now they've killed it in the NFL.
Yeah,
right?
because you got to wait. You can't get a run start, so it's absolutely it's pointless at this point.
Yeah. So I mean, and for extra points, they do it in the XFL. You can go for it from the 2-yard line for 1 point, the 5-yard line for 2 points, the 10-yard line for 3 points. So there's kind of a dynamic of, it does feel a little, okay, this is a little gimmicky, but that is interesting, right? It gives you more, especially if you're a gambler, that gives you way more different things that can happen inside of a game and more decisions. I'm sure it'll never happen because the NFL is very slow to move these types of things, but I feel that those are some decent things. And apparently the NFL is using the XFL to try out some of these rules, which they may at some point want to implement. So now granted, I'm not watching the XFL. I don't care. Baseball baseball's about to start. That's what I'm really focused on. But it is interesting that they're trying some of this stuff instead of just having a league that nobody gives a shit about, and they're playing by the same rules. So.
Yeah, did you see the interview? I think it was one of our former coaches, Buckley or whatever, was he's on the sideline. Yeah. I don't know if this stuff's staged or what, but man, he's basically said, "Yeah, we just need new players." Like straight up, like all these motherfuckers got to go. Like we just need
the quality of football is not very good, and the fact that they're not my college that I'm having to watch here, I truly I can't even name one of the teams in the XFL at this point because that's how little I give a shit about it. And then I think the USFL is trying to make a comeback. That we don't.
Dude, that they should just go full on WWE, right? They should hit each other with folding chairs and stuff. Like,
well, you remember when
the
XFL
football version of WWE? Like, I mean, I could kind of get on board with that. Like,
you remember when the XFL originally started, right? This was a Vince McMahon production from the WWE, and this was back in the 90s, or maybe it was the early 2000s. I don't remember. One of the biggest things that they have is to determine who gets the ball. They're going to put a football in the middle of the field, and then you had two guys at full speed running after it, and whoever got that ball got the ball first. So you're talking head-on collisions. Now, granted, that would never happen in the CTE.
So we're talking yeah, we're talking some CTE. That's defying all
a CTE factory. The XFL had become a CTE factory, basically, or at least that's what they were going for, because that's what they thought that everybody wanted to see. I mean, yeah, that part would be interesting, but then again, if the football is shit, I don't want to watch it, right? And so that's kind of the biggest thing. Yeah, it basically been like NFL Blitz, if you remember that video game.
Yeah.
Basically, the XFL is going to be like NFL Blitz, doing power bombs and all types of wrestling shit out on the football field. So that's a little extreme for me, but I guess for the novelty of it, people may want to tune in, but I don't know. People lost interest in that pretty quick as well. So, so I don't know. So that's that's kind of what's going on. I guess I got to do my standard. We got a few minutes left. What happened this weekend? Did y'all, how did y'all do? 15 and 10 and 25 games y'all played?
No, we did not. We actually just had practice yesterday, right? We had a really good practice. Our new little pitcher was there. She looked awesome. We had
no games.
Show up. So no games. But we do have a couple tournaments coming up, so we're excited, man. We feel like we're loaded and ready to go.
Okay, Knights are getting ready to play, so that's good to see. Well, yeah, I mean, so baseball this week, I mentioned we got Southern Miss on Tuesday. You've got Purdue this weekend, getting very close to conference play starting up. Don't forget, the Brad and Chad Show brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Talk shit to us, right? If you think I'm full of shit, which I am on most things, tell me about it. I want to know. If you've got questions, things we want to talk about, if you've got topic ideas, we'd love to hear from you, whether it is on our Twitter account, our TikTok, our Instagram. You can even put comments on our YouTube videos. Please let us know what you want to talk about. We're obviously an Ole Miss-centric podcast, but we can talk about other things too, right? So those are the things that we're focused on. We've got coaching search stuff. If you think that I'm way off the mark on my Chris Beard takes, let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's debate those types of things. But yeah, let's interact. Let's talk about it. And then until then, my man, Bradley, have a good week. We'll talk to you next Monday, okay?
Yeah, Chad. Howdy toddy.
Howdy toddy.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Follow the boys on social media for more content. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been an OM Network production, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA.